Imagine a land so vast that silence becomes sound. A place where mountains scrape the clouds, rivers cut through untouched forests, and the horizon stretches forever. A land of staggering beauty and crushing solitude. This is Montana, the treasure state, a place of breathtaking wonder and brutal reality. You can drive for hours here, maybe all day, and never see another human being. No towns, no lights, no noise but the wind. It's the kind of isolation that feels almost unnatural. And yet, for Montana, it's normal. Montana lies in the northwestern corner of the United States. A giant patch of land, bigger than Germany, triple the size of the United Kingdom. It covers nearly 147,000 square miles. Only Alaska, Texas, and California are larger. But here's the twist. Just over 1 million people call this place home. A population smaller than the city of Houston, smaller than San Diego, spread thin 3 people for every 4 square miles. Most of America is crowded. Montana is empty, painfully empty. Only Alaska and Wyoming are lonelier. And there's a reason for that. Several, actually. The first is the cold. Winter here comes early, and it stays. By October, snowstorms roll in. By November, the landscape is frozen solid. And by January, the cold feels alive, like it's hunting you. More than 200 days a year bring freezing temperatures. Roads ice over. Engines die. The wind screams through the valleys. And life slows to a crawl. Montana holds records for cold that sound impossible. Near Helena, the mercury once plunged to minus 69 degrees Fahrenheit. Minus 69. That's not weather. That's survival. The winter of 1886 to 1887 still haunts Montana's memory. The cold split trees in half. Storms hurled ice so sharp it cut through clothing. Cattle froze standing up. And when the thaw came, 60% of them were dead. More than 360,000 animals. Nature's warning was clear. This place doesn't forgive. Even today, the cold defines Montana's rhythm. It shapes the economy, the mood, the cost of living. Heating bills soar in winter. Cooling costs spike in summer. Electricity runs higher than the national average. Every season, the state forces its people to pay the price of its beauty. Then comes the isolation. Montana isn't just cold. It's cut off. Oxford scientists once mapped global accessibility, how long it takes to reach civilization from anywhere on Earth. Almost every American lives within an hour of a major city. Almost. There are exceptions. And one of them is here in northeastern Montana, a town called Glasgow. To reach the nearest city of 75,000 people, you'd drive 4.5 hours in any direction. 4.5 hours through nothing. No malls, no hospitals, no traffic, just wind, sky, and the endless road. Glasgow once had an Air Force base. It closed in 1976. The town began to fade. Now, barely 3,000 people remain, surrounded by silence on every side. And Glasgow isn't alone. 4 of America's 10 most isolated towns are in Montana and Nevada, many on or near Native American reservations. Here, isolation isn't the exception. It's the rule. Drive through the back roads and you'll see what that means. The last gas station behind you. No cell service. The road narrows, then vanishes into dirt. The mountains rise, ancient and indifferent. And that's when Montana reveals itself. Towns where moose outnumber people. Where every general store stocks bear spray next to the canned beans. Where power lines stop miles before the last house. Polbridge in Flathead County runs on solar panels and wood stoves. No cell towers. No street lights. In winter, the snow cuts it off entirely. This isn't frontier nostalgia. It's reality. Transportation? That's another story. In Montana, there are more vehicles than people. Because without a car, you're stranded. Buses run only in big towns: Billings, Missoula, Great Falls. Taxis? Forget it. Public transport makes no sense when your nearest neighbor lives miles away. So if your car breaks down, you wait. And you pray. Because sometimes help doesn't come. Then there's fire. A different kind of killer. Every summer, wildfires sweep through Montana. Some started by lightning. some by drought, others by something older, deeper, and stranger. Coal seams. Eastern Montana sits on ancient coal deposits that can burn underground for decades. When they ignite, they smolder unseen, until the ground itself erupts in flame. In 2021, one of those fires sparked Montana's largest blaze in recent history, the Richard Spring Fire. It burned 173,000 acres. Pastures, fences, homes, gone. The air turned toxic. The sky went black. That same year, more than 450 wildfires tore through the state. Some never made national news, but locals remember the ash raining down like snow. Coal fires release 50 different chemicals: arsenic, sulfur, mercury, lead. They poison lungs, soil, and water. And they don't stop. They can burn underground for years, sometimes centuries. Imagine living on land that might ignite beneath your feet. And then there's the economy. Montana looks rich in photos. Endless land, forests, cattle. But beauty doesn't pay bills. The median household income is around $70,000, below the national average. Wages lag behind. Prices don't. For decades, the state depended on agriculture, mining, timber, and oil. Now, those industries employ fewer than 1 in 10 people. Most jobs are in services, retail, tourism, food. Low pay, long hours, few benefits. GDP? 46th in the nation. Growth potential? 35th. It's not collapsing, but it's not thriving either. And yes, there are still more cows than people. 2 million cattle to just over 1 million humans. It's poetic in a way. A land of animals, not people. Young Montanans leave for better jobs elsewhere. The ones who stay often juggle 2 or 3 jobs just to keep up. And on the reservations, poverty is even deeper. The cycle feeds itself. Low opportunity drives people away. Fewer people means less opportunity. The silence grows. Healthcare is no better. In a state this vast, distance can be deadly. Major hospitals are rare. Rural clinics operate with limited staff and equipment. For something routine, an MRI, a mammogram, some residents drive 100 miles. If it snows, that trip can take a day. Some can't make it at all. So they wait. And sometimes waiting costs lives. A third of Montana's population lives in areas with poor access to healthcare. Nearly half of emergency departments don't have a doctor on duty 24/7. Since 2005, America has lost over 100 rural hospitals. Montana wasn't spared. Many closed or cut services. A quarter are at risk of shutting down completely. When the hospital goes, so does the town. And living here isn't cheap. It surprises people, but rural doesn't mean affordable. A single person in Montana needs about $2,600 a month to live. A family of 4, nearly $6,000. That's more than the national average. Food costs more. Gas costs more. Internet nearly double the national price. And in remote areas, connecting a single home to high-speed internet can cost hundreds of thousands. Property taxes climb. Utilities rise. Schools shorten weeks to save money. Teachers in Bozeman take second jobs or move back in with their parents just to afford rent. Even the local sawmills are closing. Pyramid lumber in Seeley Lake, gone. Dozens of jobs vanished overnight. Wages stay low. Prices keep rising. It's not sustainable. In 2025, Montana topped the list as the least affordable housing market in America. Yes, more expensive than California, New York, even Hawaii. The average home now costs nearly $650,000. The median family income? About $72,000. To buy a home here, you'd need to make nearly double that. So what happened? During the pandemic, remote workers fled the big cities. Seattle, Portland, San Francisco. They came here. They sold million-dollar homes on the coast and bought property in Montana with cash. Locals couldn't compete. From 2010 to 2020, the population grew by 10%. Housing supply grew by only 7%. Then came 2020, and another 5% surge in just 3 years. The result? A housing crisis. Locals priced out of their own land. Young families forced to leave. What was once the refuge of the working class became a playground for the remote elite. It's a cruel irony. The same mountains and rivers that make Montana so desirable are driving out the people who've lived there for generations. The outsiders see peace. The locals see loss. Half of Montana's people live in towns and cities. The rest, scattered across vast rural plains. The west is dominated by the Rockies. The east, endless hills and cattle. In between, small towns hang on like stubborn outposts. Civilization, surrounded by wilderness. Infrastructure, barely holding. In 2024, Montana's report card was grim. Roads, bridges, water, airports, schools all rated poor. A third of urban roads are crumbling. A fifth of rural roads worse. Each winter, snow and ice tear them apart. Each spring, floods wash them away. Power grids age out. Bridges close. Towns get cut off. Some communities still drink from systems built in the 1960s. In summer, when tourists arrive, water runs short. And when a fire starts, there isn't enough pressure to fight it. Even the internet lags half the national speed. Then there are the roads. 96% of Montana's roads are rural. Many are still gravel, unpaved, unforgiving. When it rains, they flood. When it freezes, they break. And Montana's road death rate? One of the highest in the nation. 22 fatalities per 100,000 people. Almost double the U.S. average. For locals, it's not adventure. It's just how you get to work. Montana has never been easy. In 1862, when the Homestead Act offered free land to settlers, people rushed west. But not here. Not to Montana. 160 acres sounded good, until you realized how dry and unforgiving this land was. The soil thin, the water scarce, the winters brutal. By the time settlers came, the best land elsewhere was already taken. Montana was for the desperate or the fearless. They carved homes out of frost and rock. They survived what others couldn't. That spirit still lingers today. Helena, the state capital, feels more like a town than a capital. Just 32,000 people. The fifth smallest capital in America. Many other towns are fading, slowly disappearing, one store, one family at a time. Sydney, on the North Dakota border, is the fastest shrinking. Once over 6,300 people. Now closer to 6,000. That might not sound like much, but it's a pattern. Historians call it the depopulation of the Great Plains. People leaving the interior for the coasts, chasing opportunity. Some Montana counties have lost 3/4 of their population since the 1950s. And the trend continues. Montana is aging. Half its population is over 40. By average age, it's one of the oldest states in the West. The young leave, the old stay. And while peace and quiet sound romantic, they don't pair well with bad healthcare and rising costs. Still, people stay. Because this land, for all its hardship, gets under your skin. It's not easy to leave the mountains that raised you, the rivers that shaped your childhood, the silence that feels sacred. Montana is beautiful, but it's a hard kind of beauty, the kind that demands something from you. Outsiders call it paradise. Locals call it home. But both are right and both are wrong. Because Montana is not a dream. It's not a postcard. It's a test, a patience, of endurance, of will. It's where the wild still rules, and where survival, even now, is never guaranteed.